Hey guys, it's Eshani. So today we are going to be doing a foundation review, demo, wear test video. Today we're going to be talking all about the new Kosas Revealer Foundation as well as the matching Revealer Concealer. I picked these products up during the Sephora Spring Savings event and I actually chatted about them in my Sephora Spring Savings or VIB sale haul video. If you guys want to watch that video and see all of the goodies that I picked up during that sale, which there's a lot of them, I'll link the video down below for you guys. But this was a product that in the comments seemed to be very talked about. A lot of you guys really wanted to know my opinions and you wanted to see how it went on and my thoughts on the formulas. So I figured I'd go ahead and do that for you guys today. Starting off with the foundation. This is called the Kosas Revealer Skin Improving Foundation. It does have a broad spectrum SPF 25. Here's what the bottle of the foundation looks like. It does come in a glass frosted bottle with a pump. If you guys watched my NARS light reflecting foundation review, you guys know that that pump just kind of like disperses out a single pump of product no matter how much pressure you put on the pump. But this is a good pump. You can actually disperse a quarter of a pump, half a pump, a full pump, just depending on how much of this product you want to use. This foundation retails for $42 for 1 fluid ounce of product. 1 fluid ounce is a very standard amount of product you get in a liquid foundation. This foundation is meant to have a medium coverage and it does claim to give you a second skin-like natural dreamy finish to blur visibly smooth texture and minimize pores. In terms of the special ingredient callouts to this foundation, there is niacinamide and caffeine in it, which is meant to visibly brighten, smooth, and even skin tone. There's also squalane, arnica, provitamin B5 to soothe, calm, and balance skin's ideal oil and moisture levels. And there are peptides and hyaluronic acid to visibly plump, firm, and hydrate. The vibe I'm getting from this foundation is that it's a makeup and skincare product kind of infused together. Most foundations don't tend to have that many skincare ingredients infused into it, and I do think that might contribute to the reason why this is one of the most popular foundations on the market right now. That's why I knew I had to give this a shot. Now I'm gonna go ahead and jump into a demo of me applying this foundation on my skin so you guys can see the way it goes on. But starting off, I wanted to go ahead and prep and prime my skin the way I normally do. So I went in with my YSL Touche Eclat Blur Primer to just even out the skin texture and just get a nice base going. Then I went in with my Smashbox Photo Finish Pore Minimizing Primer just in my problem areas, which is right around my nose, my forehead, and my chin to kind of mask some of the enlarged pores. As far as the texture of this foundation, you can see it looks like a very classic liquid foundation. It's definitely not too thick and whipped, but it's not super runny either. I applied it on one side of my face by just dotting it on, and then I blended it out with my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, which is my favorite foundation brush to use. You can see how easily and dreamy this foundation was to blend into my skin. I think part of that had to do with the color match I found. This was a really good color match for my skin, but I think a lot of it also just has to do with the texture of the foundation. I did go ahead and apply a second layer with a little bit more product just to build it up in my trouble areas. And taking a look at my skin from the side that I applied the foundation and the side that I didn't, you can see that the medium coverage this claims to have is very true. On the other side of my face, I did the exact same process by dotting it on and then I blended it in with my Beauty Blender sponge. The Beauty Blender is my preferred way of foundation application most of the time. The Beauty Blender really did an effortless job of blending this foundation in as well. I was a little concerned that it might make the foundation too light and too glowy, but honestly, it looks pretty much the same from the brush side to the Beauty Blender side. There is one major con I want to talk about with this foundation, and I feel like this has been an issue with me with a lot of foundation ranges recently. This foundation is so difficult to color match yourself to. And the reason I say that is because the way Kosas describes the shades is literally incorrect. I don't even want to say they're marginally off. They are wrong. The undertones that they claim certain shades have, they're just wrong. The shade I ended up with is number 310, which is a medium deep neutral cool. This shade is described to be a medium deep with pink peach undertones. The second a foundation claims to have pink undertones, I know that is not going to be my color match. I am very much a warm undertone. However, when it comes to foundations, I try to find the most neutral undertone I can, because over time I've realized if I go for a very warm undertone foundation, when I put it on my warm undertone skin, it just makes me look super, super orange. I can't even imagine how Kosas describes some of the other shades, because if this is cool to them, if you genuinely have cool undertones, you're kind of screwed. Because the pink undertone foundation, in my opinion, is very neutral, if not slightly warm. All right, let's go ahead and get into chatting about the concealer now. This is the Kosas Revealer Super Creamy and Brightening Concealer. They also claim this to be a daytime eye cream. Remember when I said Kosas is really touting those skincare claims? You can see that because they literally put the name eye cream in the title of this product. Here's what the packaging of the concealer looks like. It does have a very similar look to the foundation. As you can see, the tops match, which is so cute. And the bottom is a plastic. As far as the applicator, it is a flattened felt tip applicator that does hold product on both sides. The concealer retails for $28 for 0.2 fluid ounces of product. Kosas describes this as a crease-proof, medium coverage, super creamy concealer, eye cream, and spot treatment in one that visibly brightens and helps reveal better looking skin. The highlighted ingredients in this concealer are very, very similar to the ingredients in the foundation. We've got caffeine and pink algae extract, which fights dark circles, puffiness, and dullness. You've got hyaluronic acid and peptides, which hydrate and visibly plump for supple, juicy skin. And you've got arnica and panthenol, which are the ultimate skin calming tool for blemishes and redness. I went ahead and applied this just in my problem areas on my skin. So I went ahead and did some dots under my eyes, a little bit on my forehead, and a little bit on my chin area. I used a beauty blender to bump this into my skin. The beauty blender is my favorite way to apply concealer because it just really blends it in flawlessly. And I have to say, I think this concealer went on absolutely beautifully. The shade I ended up with in the concealer is 7N, which they describe as a tan with neutral undertones. And I will say that their neutral undertone is definitely warm. I can't even imagine what the actual warm undertone is, because to me, the neutral leaned very, very warm. And here you can see the shade of foundation I have right next to the concealer shade. As far as the foundation, again, this is number 310, and it is pretty much a neutral undertone, even though it's described as a cool with pink peach undertones. And the concealer you can see is just a little bit lighter, not too much lighter. I didn't want a really stark contrast, but this one is described as the tan with neutral undertones. I don't think the coverage on this is anything close to Tarte Shape Tape. It's a lot more lightweight, a lot more creamy, and a lot lighter in coverage than that. And then to finish up my face routine, I went ahead and set this foundation and concealer with a little bit of Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder. I wanted to go ahead and do my full face routine the way I would normally do it with my primer and my powder, just to give this foundation the best shot of success. I finished up my foundation application just after 10 a.m. in the morning, and I will have this foundation on for a solid 10 hours today, probably even a little bit longer. So I will do check-ins throughout the day. As far as the other products I have on my face, I didn't use any shimmery items or anything with a glow on my cheeks. I just used a matte cream contour stick, a matte cream blush and no highlighter. We're just gonna go about my normal day today. I'm not going to blot my skin at any point, and I'm not going to touch up my skin. So we will see the natural wear of this foundation over the course of an entire day. So it is just after 1:30 now, which means I've had this foundation on my face for about 3.5 hours. Foundation and concealer. Let's not forget that we're testing a new concealer as well. All right, I pulled out a mirror here, so let me take a nice up close and personal look. Okay, the first thing that I see and I notice right away is that my concealer is definitely creasing under my eyes. Can you guys see the creasing of the concealer right in here? It is kind of gathering, even on the other eye, but it's not quite as noticeable. It's possible that I put more concealer on this eye, and that is why it is kind of going into those creases. Obviously, my eyes have creases. Everybody's under eyes have creases naturally, so concealer tends to sink into them. That's just what happens. The best concealer I've found that sinks into my creases the least is Tarte Shape Tape. Shape Tape is really, really good about kind of locking on, especially once you set it. It doesn't tend to crease on me. This concealer I did set, and it is still creasing. And the only reason I want to make it clear that it is creasing is because one of the main claims of this concealer is that it does not crease. So if you're telling me that you don't crease, you better not crease. And this one definitely does. Now, as far as the foundation, how is it looking on the forehead, around my cheeks? Because these are my main problem areas. The foundation is kind of gathering in my smile lines a little bit. Again, that's pretty typical with most liquid foundations. As far as the way it looks on my forehead and around my cheeks, this foundation also claimed to be pore minimizing. And remember, I also used 2 primers under it. I used a traditional kind of silicone primer and a pore filling primer. When I normally do that primer cocktail, I don't have an issue of emphasized pores. And I have to say that this foundation is emphasizing my pores. Right around my cheeks and right here on my forehead, my pores look a little crater-like. Yeah, I'm a little iffy with the way it looks on my skin right now. As you guys can see, it's still a medium coverage, but it is settling. For 3.5 hours, this foundation looks like I've been wearing it for 8 hours, not in terms of the oiliness, but in terms of the creasing and the cratering and just the overall just look and texture of it on my skin. Anyways, I will go ahead and check back in a couple hours and we will see how it's holding up then. Hey guys, so it is now almost 5:20 in the evening. I would show you on my phone, but I'm actually using my phone to film this little clip because I wanted to use a couple different cameras to give you guys some different viewpoints of this foundation. I've had this foundation on for over 7 hours now with no blotting, no touch-ups. I will be completely honest and tell you, a couple hours ago, I ate a bagel egg sandwich. It had an over easy egg on it, so I did get some kind of yolk and guacamole kind of on this area of my mouth. I did have to very carefully take a wet napkin and wipe it off. So a little bit of the foundation did kind of wipe off around my mouth area. I took my dry beauty blender and slightly tapped it in here, just so it didn't look like the foundation was completely non-existent. But besides that, looking at the foundation in other areas of my face, I have to be totally honest, I'm not impressed. I would say right now it looks best in this vanity lighting setup. My forehead and around my cheek area looks so textured. You guys, it looks just really, really bad. It literally looks like I have just craters, like pores and craters and texture in even areas of my skin that normally don't look that textured. I actually had to get a shot of this for you guys out in natural lighting so you guys could see, but look at how this skin looks right now in natural light. It looks like every single pore, every crease, every wrinkle is just even more exaggerated with this makeup on. To be totally honest, under my eyes right now, while it's totally creasing, it also looks like the concealer has kind of faded. So it basically just looks like it's gathering and it's creased up in the prominent kind of wrinkle here under my eyes. And then all of this area right here and right under my lash line, there's like no concealer left. I am shocked by how poorly this wore. I'm gonna be honest. I will say it doesn't look particularly greasy, but it looks so incredibly textured. Either way, I wanted to go ahead and do my check-in at this point because in about an hour or so, I am going to go out for a hike. I knew I had to check in before I really put it to the ultimate test, and then, you know, we'll do a final check-in at the end of the day. I just can't imagine this is gonna look very good post-hike. I don't have hopes for this at all. Alrighty guys, so it is now the end of the night. It is 10:05 in the evening, which means that I have had this makeup on for 12 hours now. It was extremely hot outside today. It was literally 100 degrees during the day. During the hike, it was still 85 degrees. There was no sun and it was 85 degrees. So mind you, I did get a little bit sweaty. So I'll zoom you guys in. Let's see how this foundation has been holding up. Everything that I said in the last check-in still stands true at this point. The concealer under my eyes, pretty much non-existent, and what is left is all creased up under here. See if I can zoom you guys in even more so you can get a proper look at that. But do you see how it's just creased? And there's just not really a lot of coverage left in this area. The foundation has definitely creased into the little lines I have here in my forehead. My smile lines here around my mouth definitely has some creasing going on. There's still a little bit of blush and contour left on my cheeks as well, but can you guys see what I'm talking about? My skin is definitely textured. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be unrealistic by saying that this foundation has to completely blank out the texture I have on my skin, because we all naturally have lines, we have creases, we have pores. But it would be nice to find a liquid foundation that didn't just emphasize that. And just looking at my cheek, I mean, my skin looks so much better without the foundation. With the foundation on, it's like you can just see every little divot in my skin, every little imperfection, every single pore on my forehead is like maximized at this point. Pore minimizing is not it. This is pore maximizing. As I typically do with my foundation review videos, I did bring out a tissue here so we could just blot my skin just to see how much oil is picked up, how much foundation is picked up. I'm also going to go ahead and do a quick blot under my eyes to see if we can kind of fix up this concealer a bit. So here's how much product was picked up on the tissue. You can see this is actually really good. Not a lot of foundation actually came up. There's not a lot of pigment, and my skin does look relatively mattified now. It wasn't looking overly glowy. It definitely had a little bit of wear on it, a little bit of shine, but it wasn't anything crazy. Maybe taking a little bit of that shininess away isn't adding to the luminosity of my pores. Maybe they look a little bit more refined, but not by very much. And honestly, blotting my under eyes kind of just made it worse. If you guys can see here, the concealer is still creased, but now my under eyes also look dry. So yeah, what I'm getting is a creasy, dried look under my eyes from the concealer. I'm getting an overemphasization. My pores are emphasized is what I'm getting. So yeah, what do I think of this Kosas foundation and concealer overall? I think you guys can tell I am very less than impressed. This is a $42 foundation and a $28 concealer, which means this combination is $70. And for a $70 complexion routine, I don't want this to emphasize texture on my skin. I feel like my skin looks better without this on it. It looks less textured, less wrinkly, less pory. Like this didn't make it look good. What do you guys think of this product? I mean, the Sephora employee did tell me this is their best selling foundation and concealer in the store right now, which is making me think that a lot of you guys have tested these products out. So please give me your opinions on them in the comments down below. If you guys are interested in trying this foundation or concealer out for yourself, I will have links down below. Just an FYI, the links in the description box are affiliate links. So if you click through those links and make your purchase, I do make a little bit of a commission. I really appreciate those of you guys who use my affiliate links. It helps out my channel so much. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today and watching this video. Don't forget to thumbs it up if you enjoyed it. If you guys want me to do any more foundation or concealer reviews, let me know specific products in the comments, and I will talk to you guys in my next video very soon. I'll see you then. Bye.